Hey, Undisputed listeners. Before we start the show, I wanted to tell you about our brand new Fox Sports app and website, foxsports.com. Reimagined for the modern sports fan. Go ahead, download the new app right now. You don't even have to pause this episode. Every day on the new app and website, you'll see the top stories in sports, plus a rich world of written content, videos, social media, and analytics to give you a 360-degree view of the most important stories of the day. Streaming live TV has never been so easy or elegant. Every Fox Sports game, including all pregame and postgame shows, are just one click away. For the extra invested fan, we also go deep with real-time wagering lines, trending prop bets, win probability, and key player projections. Download the new Fox Sports app or visit www.foxsports.com now. Let's start the show. Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon. Let's get to it. Morning. Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. Guys, how we doing today?
Doing good.
Cowboy countdown to an NFC title. NFC East title.
Oh, yeah.
6 days.
No.
You know what? I think I was right. NFC title. I meant
Yeah, that's a Freudian slip. Are you sure about that?
I'm thinking that way because here we come.
I think you need to be examined.
That's what we're dealing with today. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, he's feeling good about himself. He's feeling good.
Feeling real good when I see that smirk on Skip's face. We will get to the Cowboys. I'll let you have your moment, but we do have to talk about what we saw last night. The Patriots struggled again last night, Monday Night Football, falling to Josh Allen and the Bills 38-9. Cam Newton was benched for Jarrett Stidham in the second half after completing just 5 passes for 34 yards. And Bill Belichick's normally staunch defense gave up season highs in both points and yards allowed. New England was already eliminated from the playoffs entering the evening, which we knew, but now they have to beat the Jets in Week 17 just to avoid ending the season on a 4-game losing streak. And on the flip side, you got to talk about Tom Brady. Well, he only had to play the first half in Saturday's playoff-clinching win for his new team down in Tampa. So, Shannon, is Brady proving he is more valuable than Belichick?
Not to me. I'm sure in some people's lives, they see that. They see him leave the Patriots and see them struggle and go to a new team, and they're doing well. They're going to make the playoffs. But it's hard to see that. If I give 2 chefs, I say, okay, I need you to make Thanksgiving dinner, but I only give 1 chef the ingredients to make an omelet and pancakes, how the hell is his dinner supposed to be better than the guy that I gave him everything to make Thanksgiving dinner?
Well, wait a second. The chef gets to pick his own ingredients.
Skip, you going to let me talk? You get your opportunity and you can refute whatever I'm saying. No, this is my turn. It's my turn. No, it's not a bad analogy. Granted, Coach Belichick chose this path. He wanted to go in a different direction. But Tom Brady, the only way you can say this is, if he's proven he's better than Coach Belichick, is that you give them comparable rosters. And then Tom Brady takes a team to the playoff for the Super Bowl or however far they go, and then you can make a fair assessment. Tom Brady is surrounded by more talent in year 21, offensive talent, than he's ever been surrounded with in his entire career. That is factual. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Gronk, Antonio Brown, that is the best skill set of receiver that he's ever had. Yes, has he had one receiver that's better than all of those guys one by one? Sure. Randy Moss is arguably the top 3. He's a top 3 receiver in all of football history. But to say that Coach Belichick, with the roster that, and like I said, it's his fault. He shopped. He did all of this. But to say that Brady has proven that he's smarter than what we thought, because he's going to Tampa. But when you look at it, he saw what was in Tampa, just like Peyton saw what was in Denver with those young weapons, offensive weapons, and he went and joined them. So for me, it does not prove that Brady is more valuable. It proved that he was smarter by getting up out of there. It's like, I see the writing on the wall. I can't win with this offensive talent. The tight ends are non-existent. They just have tight ends by title on the roster. They don't throw to them, and when they do throw to them, they can't catch. Cam didn't play very well last night, but the one good ball that he did throw, the guy dropped it for that would have been a touchdown. So for me, it doesn't change anything. All the opt-outs have hurt them. Defensively, you can only play so hard because after a while, no matter how great defensively you are, you keep going 3 and out offensively, and you keep turning the ball over, your defense will eventually crack, and that's what we're seeing. The Patriots have the number 11 scoring defense in all of football. Their defense isn't that bad, but their offense is so anemic and so pedestrian and so putrid that it makes the entire team look bad. So for me, it hasn't proven anything. Tom, be the first to say, Tom is playing much better than I even thought he would play in Tampa. But to say that he's proven that he was the reason why they won, that hasn't been the case for me.
Okay, my turn. I stand by what I've told you for the last 4 years on this show. Tom Brady was at least 75% of the reason for the Patriot dynasty. Bill Belichick is getting exposed. Bill Belichick is in big trouble going forward in New England because Bill Belichick hit bottom last night. That was the worst home loss he has ever suffered in his New England tenure. That was the first time Buffalo has swept them since 1999, which was obviously before Bill Belichick got there, long before he got there.
Yeah. He got there in 2000.
2000, right, yeah. Okay, so the problem is that Tom Brady camouflaged all of Belichick's blunders in personnel decisions, all of his draft swings and misses, his free agent swings and misses, his I'm going to do it on the cheap, I'm just going to find cogs for my defense, all the things that Belichick got away with under Tom Brady, he's no longer getting away with because in the end, he does not have a quarterback. Where do you go without a quarterback in this league? You go nowhere. You go south.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how great your head coach. It doesn't matter how great your owner is.
It just doesn't
Without
matter.
that guy, you're nothing.
And as much as I admire Cam and the way he balls, he just gives you every ounce he's got. He fights, he scratches, he claws. He's got 12 rushing touchdowns, which leads the league among quarterbacks. And he got another one on a scramble last night, 9 yards, that put them back in the game. Folk missed the point, but it would have been 10-10, but it was 10-9. And to your point, Cam did throw an early trick play, what looked like it might have been a touchdown pass. It would have gotten down to the 5 or 4 or 3. Who was the guy who dropped it? Demir Bird. The one big addition, the one big new addition, Bill Belichick went out in the free agent market.
He plunged.
Yeah, he plunged on the 4th best receiver in Arizona a year ago, Demir Bird, the 4th best Kyler Murray target in Arizona. And on that pass play, if we could see it, I think it hits him in the face mask. I don't know if he lost it in the lights. I don't know what happened. But Cam did make one hellacious good throw. It looked like it went right through his hands and bounced off his mask somehow on a trick play throwback from Sony Michel. And again, that was effectively the end of this game.
Yes.
Was that right there? Again, he's sort of rolling sideways.
You can't throw it any better than...
No, you just can't. And Buffalo went into New England last night ready to bury them. Their whole plan from the start was, we want to take our pound of flesh from these guys because these guys, this franchise has embarrassed them, has stepped on them for year after year after year. Tom Brady has thrown party after party at Buffalo on them. And they finally said, we're going to go in there and we're going to go for their throat. And they were throwing in the third quarter for the throat.
Yes.
And that they were playing so desperately to crush them that, remember, it was 3-all, and Buffalo had the ball and is starting to drive, but gets stalled at 4th and 5 from their 35-yard line.
Right.
Think about this. It's 4th and 5 from their 35, and it's 3-all in this game. And what did they do? They ran a fake punt. A fake punt. And the up back throws a left-handed pass for a 13-yard gain, and here they go. And
that's a heck of a throw, too.
it was a heck of a throw. And then they actually, they actually faced fourth down one more time in this drive, and Josh Allen ran the keeper on the zone read and ran for 22 yards.
Can I ask you a question, Skip? Are you still sold on Baker Mayfield? You take Baker Mayfield over that guy?
Absolutely, absolutely. Baker Mayfield in the last 8 games until he lost his top 4 receivers and 2 of his starters in the offensive line was ranked 2nd by Pro Football Focus in the whole league over his last 8 games. He has arrived. Yes, I'll take him.
Skip.
I'll take him in his intangibles over Josh Allen. They are on fire right now in Buffalo, but how can you rate or rank Josh Allen? He's up a bit against garbage last night on the Patriot defense. There's no Stephon Gilmore, right?
All I'm saying, Skip, all I'm saying, and if you look at it, Baker Mayfield has 26 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Do you know that Josh Allen has 26 and 7 when not throwing to Stephon Diggs?
Yep, I got it. But Stephon Diggs is leading the league in catches and yards, and he has changed life for Josh Allen. Every once in a while, a receiver comes along who is so gifted, he is so skilled and so savvy that Stephon Diggs is uncoverable by 2 people. You can put 2 people on him, and he is going to separate from 2.
Well, Skip, he been had that. Okay? He was just playing with Cousins. He was just playing up in Minnesota.
I got it. But all of a sudden, Josh Allen has fallen in love with him.
Yes.
And they're talking about their video game buddies, and they're really close off the field. It appeared they did a joint interview on ESPN after the game last night, and it looked like it was legit, authentic connection. And now Josh Allen knows I can throw it to him anytime if I have any doubt, I'll just throw it to him, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so all of a sudden they are exploding because they still got Cole Beasley, and you love little Beasley.
He balling.
Okay, and they have a legit run game, and they have a legit offensive line that
nice tight ends, although he dropped one last night.
Yeah, Dawson Knox. Okay, but the point is they are on a roll. They should have won 9 straight games, except they got Hail Murray.
Yes.
So they're on fire. We'll talk about them later, their chances of going to Kansas City, which I give them a shot to go to Kansas City right now. But the point is, back to Bill Belichick, where is he heading? Because remember, he did have 2 big opt-outs. Dante Hightower and Patrick Chung opted out for COVID reasons. I assume it was just COVID. I don't know. Maybe there are other personal things going on. But you can't tell me that Tom Brady wouldn't have been able to go to each one of those guys who he's close to both of them and say, hey, let's make one last run at this. If he had stayed in New England or Belichick wanted him to stay, I just wonder about that.
I don't, Skip, because I think the thing is that everybody that opted out, they opted out for very, very personal reasons. You look at the running back from Kansas City, Skip, he opted out because of his mom.
Yep.
You know, some people opted out because they had kids that had pre-existing conditions. And it's like, you know what, it's just not worth the risk. I think one of the McCourtys, I think he's staying at a hotel the entire season to make sure he doesn't, whatever it might transpire, that it doesn't come home to his wife and to his kids.
Okay. So, to me, Bill Belichick turned into one of those sort of delusional geniuses who says, I am so great at what I do. He didn't understand just how much Tom Brady meant to him because he didn't want him there anymore. I am so great that it won't matter how many cogs I lose on defense. So he loses Kyle Van Noy and a Landon Roberts to the Dolphins. And then Jamie Collins is gone, and he trades Deron Harmon, and Danny Shelton's gone. And all of a sudden, who's left except Gilmore, who's too expensive for them to keep one more year after this year?
Correct.
And now he's wrecked his knee, and I don't know what obviously he's
I think it was a quad. It was a quad. Yeah, I think he had a surgery on his quad.
All right, so the point is that they've actually played better on defense than I thought they could.
Yes.
But they're still 6-9 because they don't have a quarterback. And as much as Cam has balled out running the football, his QBR has now fallen to 29th out of 32 quarterbacks. It's not good.
No.
He's 5 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. So think about this. Cam Newton has started 14 games this year, and he has 5 touchdown passes. I mean, Brady had 4 in the first half at Detroit.
Skip, look, you and I think the game is called Jenga, where you have the little pieces and you try to move one out without making the whole thing fall down. Skip, there's only so many pieces you can move out before the things topple down. There's only so many pieces that you can take away from the defense. Stephon Gilmore and Hightower and Chung and Landon Roberts and all the guys, Kyle Van Noy, and you trade DeJuan Harmon. There's only so many pieces before it topples like a house of cards. Granted, their quarterback situation hasn't been well. Skip, look, I don't know what they're going to do, but they need to blow this offense up. They need to. This is not going to work. This is not going to work, Skip. And Cam has something to do with that. But it's not like he's throwing to Mike Evans. It's not like he's throwing to Godwin and Antonio Brown.
Nope.
But Skip, look, Tom Brady left. He got more talent on the offensive side while really not sacrificing anything defensively because Tampa has the number 7 scoring defense, which, they've given up some yards, but at the end of the day, yards don't beat you. Points beat you. Yeah. And they've been pretty good at that. Tom Brady, from number 1 scoring defense, from 2001 and 2019, if you average it, he's had the number 1 scoring defense for 19 years.
Number 1?
Number 1 average scoring defense if you project it out over the time that he was there. He's had the number 1 scoring average defense from 2001 to 2019. He's had 16 of his 19 seasons in which he's been a starter. He's had a top 10 scoring defense.
Oh, you mean if you rank all the years together?
All the years, yes. If you rank all the years. But he's had 16 top 10.
Okay. And all I know is that in one Super Bowl, they let Eli Manning drive it 83 yards for a touchdown to win the game to take it away from Brady. In the other one, they gave up 41 points to Nick Foles.
Do you know in Brady's career, Brady has scored 20 or less points in 4 Super Bowls, and they've won 2 of them. Yeah. While you doing all that bumping over there, you talking about Tom Brady has won 2 Super Bowls in which his team has scored less than 20 points.
To go undefeated, Tom Brady did what he always does in Super Bowls. He drove them in the first Eli Super Bowl 60 yards and hit Randy Moss with a 5-yard touchdown pass with 2 minutes to go to put them up 14-10, and it should have stood up because if you're that good, if you're number 1 scoring defense, you got to be able to stop Eli Manning. Are you kidding me?
If you talk, hold on, time out.
Bill Belichick get a pass for that?
If you Tom Brady, first of all, why is Eli even on the field with Tom Brady? If Tom Brady is GOAT, why is even Eli there?
The GOAT goated him. He did exactly what he did.
Skip his man.
He's won 6 Super Bowls with 6 game-winning drives in fourth quarters and overtimes. That's outrageously great, and you still hate on him.
No, Skip. I'm just saying, a man averaged 36 for a season, and then he gets to the Skip.
How do you put up 33 points in a Super Bowl game and lose it 41-33 with your best defensive player, the guy who played the most snaps on your defense, Malcolm Butler, benched for the game, inexplicably benched?
But you see what you do, Skip? You take the situation in which he gave up 33 and they lost the game, but you don't say how he held Atlanta scoreless for the last 20-plus minutes of a ball game. You never mention that. You don't mention how in the Legion of Boom, how he held Russell Wilson scoreless in the fourth quarter. You won't mention that.
But think about what Tom Brady did against the Legion of Boom in the fourth quarter. 124 yards passing and 2 touchdowns just in the fourth quarter.
Let me ask you a question.
Think about what he did to Atlanta. 246 yards just in the fourth quarter and overtime.
So let me ask you a question. If Coach Belichick defense doesn't do what it does, if it doesn't pitch a shutout, they let Russell get 4 points. They let Russell get 8 points. Do they win that game? So it really wouldn't have mattered what without Coach Belichick's defense pitching shutouts. It really doesn't matter because remember, it didn't matter in Philly that he threw for the all-time high because his defense couldn't bow their backs. So while you give, and look, I'm not trying to take away anything from Tom Brady, but the way you and others try to minimize Coach Belichick's impact on this.
I give you this. He's one of the greatest defensive coordinators ever. I don't know about that. I thought Buddy Ryan was really good at what he did.
He had an all-time great defense. He had a 2-year stretch. I don't think he came back in '86. I think he was in Philly. He went to Philly that year. But anyway, Skip, we're talking about 2 decades.
Okay, even if I give you that, they handed him the keys to the franchise from the start, and they let him, to use the old Bill Parcells line, pick all the groceries.
He did the shopping.
Okay, he did it all. And he did it very poorly, and it's finally catching up to him because he had a quarterback who was the greatest to ever do it, and also, to me, the greatest locker room leader in the history of sports over time. Ray Lewis is right up there. I put you up there in the top 5.
LeBron might have something to say about that, too.
I don't know about
that. I know about got something to say about that.
I saw him quit on his team.
Don't do that, Skip.
Game 1 at Oracle. That's not leadership to me. But let's just keep it to pro football. You and Ray, but Brady's right in there, and he did it so long under such duress in New England because the coach treated him like another cog in the system. The coach chewed him out in front of the team repeatedly, and he let the coach get away with it because he was going to win in spite of the coach. And he kept telling everybody who came in new to the locker room, it's okay. It's just the way he is. Just accept him for what he is and just shut it out, tune it out, and go on.
But, Skip, Coach Belichick had to treat it like this because he knew there was going to become a time that he was going to have to trade. You're going to have to move on from these players, Skip. So you can't have, obviously, I don't care what anybody says, there are attachments where coaches, they feel a certain something for a player. But you can't let that cloud your judgment to stop you from releasing that player, trading that player, moving on from said player. And Coach Belichick knew in order for me to maintain my reign here, I can't treat Brady, at least publicly. Now, Skip, I get it. Sometimes I believe Coach Belichick went overboard because I don't believe, I don't believe you treat anybody like some of the ways that Coach Belichick treated, especially not your top-tier guys, because certain guys are going to behave the way they should no matter what you do. And Tom Brady is one of those guys. Coach Belichick didn't have to call him out and try to demean him and undress the guy in front of the team. He was going to be professional through and through. That's just the way he was brought up. But Coach Belichick, and that's why, in the military, Skip, they don't let higher-ups get involved with subordinates because it clouds their judgment. So that's how Coach Belichick treated it. He treats everybody like college, Skip. They know after, 4 years, whether you graduate or not, you got to get the hell up out of here.
That is true.
So that's how Coach Belichick, you know what, hey, there's going to be a chance I'm going to have to get you up out of here, so let's keep everything at Heisman pose, and we're going to move on from there.
I want to remind everybody that in Cleveland, Bill Belichick had a losing record 4 out of 5 years and got fired. And then he came to New England, and he went 5-11 the first year. And he was 0-2 to start the second year when the heavens opened and Tom Brady fell out of the heavens into his lap.
Mo Lewis happened.
Mo Lewis happened to Drew Bledsoe, and that was that. And, and the rest is history, literally NFL history.
It is.
And the point is, Bill Belichick at that point in his career was 12 games under 500 as a head coach. Well, you can't tell me that Brady didn't save his bacon, didn't save his legacy. And again, so many mistakes.
Save his job. He didn't even have no legacy at that point in time. He was just a defensive coordinator.
Well, he launched his legacy.
Right, yes.
Then over time in New England, Belichick was able to get away with so many poor personnel decisions, especially building up to last offseason. I kept telling you, what is he doing? Because he was doing nothing.
I don't know where the money, I still don't know where the money went.
I don't either.
I don't know where.
So in the end, Cam Newton's not the answer throwing the football there. And I'm afraid it's not going to work, and I'm afraid he won't be back. I could be wrong about that, but I'm afraid he won't be back in New England.
I agree.
Is Jarrett Stidham the answer?
No.
I know we've just seen him in little bursts, such as last night for a quarter and a half, but he sure doesn't look like the guy to me.
Well, Skip, here's a guy that had a head start on Cam on the offense.
He did.
So you would have thought that, and that's what I was thinking. I was like, well, he has a head start on Cam in the offense with no preseason games. Basically, everything is virtual, so he's going to be the starter. The mere fact that Coach Belichick went out there and got him, and Cam started basically a month later, tells me everything I need to know about Jarrett Stidham. So he might be good, but I just haven't seen enough. And when I watch him play, nothing tells me, man, with time, this guy can be pretty good.
No, he's now completed 50% of his passes this year in short stints. But still, I told you I watched him a lot at Auburn for 2 years. Man, his second year, it was really rocky. And I didn't see anything more than what other people saw because he was there in the 4th round.
But New England get used to this. Because you've beaten people. When people get an opportunity, Skip, it's just like when they did these power schools, Alabama and Ohio State and Michigan, when Nebraska, how they used to beat people and what people do now. They've had it down. They try to hang 50 on you every chance. That's what's going to happen to New England because you've been at the top of the totem pole for 2 decades. When somebody get a chance to beat you, that wasn't an accident.
Nope.
I'm surprised Buffalo took Josh Allen out. They just didn't want to get him hurt. But they were trying to hang 50 on him.
They were. I agree. So in the end, where does Belichick turn for a quarterback? Because obviously they've won too many games to get Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields.
Unless you trade for something or maybe somebody becomes available, Skip, that's what you're going to have to do. He's going to, the likelihood of him drafting the quarterback of the future is going to have to be unless it's the 6th. He ain't getting another Brady. Ain't no lightning. That'll be lightning striking 12 times in the same spot. He's not getting another Brady. So basically, he's going to have to trade for somebody or somebody get released or an injury. That's how he's going to have to happen because it seems that way with Denver because we can't draft a quarterback either unless somebody just Peyton falls out the heavens again. But we had a chance to get Josh Allen, but that's neither here nor there. But a lot of times, Skip, we say that all the time. Well, Chicago could have this. A lot of time it's about developing. Are you going to be able to develop that quarterback? Patrick Mahomes went to the perfect situation. Andy Reid, because Andy Reid can develop it. Certain people go to
Andy Reid wanted him.
Right. And plus, so I'm not so sure Patrick Mahomes would have been Patrick Mahomes in Chicago. Or Deshaun would have been.
Not.
So we never know, but Coach Belichick, you got your work cut out for you, bro.
So somewhere in Tampa Bay last night, Brady was shaking his head and feeling sorry for Cam Newton.
No, he wasn't.
He knows what
Tom, like, he might have been feeling for Cam Newton, feeling sorry for Cam, but he was loving every bit. He's like, hang 60 on him, please.
No mercy.
What's up, Undisputed listeners? It's your boy, Shay Sharp. I wanted to tell you about my new podcast, Club Shay Shay, where we always do something before two something. Each week, I sit down with a guest for a drink and conversation, and as host and proprietor of Club Shay Shay, I've welcomed in esteemed guests such as Snoop Dogg, Floyd Money Mayweather, LeVar Ball, Isaiah Thomas, just to mention a few. Whether I'm talking to an athlete, a musician, an actor, or a lifelong friend, Club Shay Shay is a place where people share inspiring and motivational stories about their journeys to prominence. The new episode drops every Monday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to Club Shay Shay now and make sure you never miss a new episode. Now back to Undisputed.
No mercy.
Lakers lost to the Blazers 115-107 last night. Damian Lillard scored 21 of his 31 points in the second half. And the Lakers lost for the first time in 60 games when leading entering the fourth quarter. LeBron finished with 29 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists, but it wasn't enough as the Lakers fell to 2-2 to start the year. When asked why his team struggled on the second night of a back-to-back, Coach Frank Vogel said, "We were kind of stuck in mud a little bit. We just had trouble sustaining that intensity." So, Shannon, what was the biggest reason the Lakers lost last night?
Well, Skip, for me, I get the intensity part, but I thought it was the bench. If you look at it, Skip, every Laker had at least, LeBron was at 0 plus minus, but everybody else had a positive plus minus, and everybody from the bench had a negative plus minus. And then the turnovers again, Skip, they get out to this great start. They were making shots, they were stealing the ball, and then the next thing you know, they start turning it over, and then they let Portland back in the game. And plus, Gary Trent Jr., Skip, he's going to be a problem. Because we know, like last year, we saw in the bubble, Skip, we're like, okay, is this a bubble situation where this guy is only shooting good because there's no, and that still might be the case, Skip. There's still no fans in these arenas. But he's developed a step back now. He's taking people off the dribble because before, run him off the line, make him put the ball on the floor to shoot the ball. Nah, that doesn't matter now. And then you know what Dame is, Skip. It got dollar time in the fourth quarter, and he got hot. He scored 21 of his 31 in the second half of the ball game, which he does. And so for me, I thought it was the bench. We got nothing from the bench. And that's the thing that concerns me about Kyle Kuzma, Skip. The night before, he was sensational. And then last night, what was that? Minus 23, 2 of 9, 2 of 8 from the floor. And Skip had no rebounds, no assists, 3 fouls, 6 points. And you look at their bench, they got 40, 45 points from their bench from 4 players. So for me, I get the lack of intensity and maybe legs were heavy. But also, Anthony, AD got to become more involved. Skip 4 points in the first half. He had, what did he have, 14 shots? That's not nearly enough. AD and LeBron need to be vying week, game to game in and game out. Who's taking the most shots? Because he had a decided advantage. Covington was trying to guard AD. Get down on the block, AD, and they demand the ball. So, y'all, hey, don't nobody take another mofo shot until y'all give me at least the next 6, 7 touches. Because we've seen them do that before, Skip, where they come down the court and AD shoot like 6, 7 times straight. That's what should have happened last night. So, look, give Portland credit. Portland played unbelievable. They didn't go away. They scrapped. They hung around, and they started making shots. Gary Trent Jr. and Dame Lillard got hot. And there's no answer for the Lakers, but the bench got to play better than this. You can't give these kind of barely 23 points, 23 when you got Trez average 18, 19 last year. Kuzma, this is Skip. This is the concern. This is why Lakers only went 3 years, $40 million. as opposed to we saw some other guys skip and we looking like, well, hold on.
Oh, so you're down on Trez now.
No, not Trez. I'm talking about Kuz.
Oh, Kuz?
No,
I thought you meant
Kuz.
Trez.
No, I said that's why Kuz only got, we saw some other guys kept getting $20 million a year and 17 and 18. Why Kuz? The inconsistency. I'm not worried about Trez. Trez will be just fine.
I thought they were trying to make a big new deal with Kuzma.
They got it. They gave 3 years, $30 million.
That's what I'm saying. That
ain't no big new deal.
Yeah.
Considering that some of these other guys, did you see what Bogdan got? He's getting 5 for 80. You see Jason Tatum deal? You see Brandon Ingram? You see the kid in Utah?
I'll tell you what I see. Your team is not as good as it was last year.
I disagree.
The league gave you an opening gift, a welcome back gift. You had to come back early. They gave you 4 home games to start. And you went 2-2 in those home games. You got out-rebounded last night by the Portland Trailblazers.
That was surprising to me also, Skip.
45-41, because you don't have Dwight Howard, you don't have JaVale. And you got shot out of the gym in the fourth quarter by a guy, Gary Trent Jr., who, by the way, in Portland's opener at home, played a grand total, including overtime, of 6 minutes. He lost his starting job to Derrick Jones Jr.
It's something about playing against the Lakers. Because remember what he did in the Lakers in the bubble?
He was on fire in the bubble, especially against the Lakers.
Yes.
So I was surprised that he fell that far out of favor that quickly, but he just didn't play much. And he didn't play all that much last night because he doesn't start. And so he came in and played a grand total of, well, even in the fourth quarter, he only played 4 minutes.
But he did some damage.
He did some damage. He did all the damage in the fourth quarter, but he played a grand total of 24 minutes and scored 28 points. That'll work.
Yeah, 10 of 14 and 7-11 on 3.
So I'm wondering, could Danny Green have guarded him a little better? Could Avery Bradley have guarded him a little better? Yes, they could have. So you lost 2 of the better perimeter. Like Danny Green's got length at 6'6". He can defend length.
But Skip, Wes Matthews is a good defender. But I don't know what it is. If you notice, Jay Crowder, when he was in Cleveland with LeBron, he couldn't make a 3. He goes to Miami. You watch him in Phoenix. He can't miss a 3. I don't know. Maybe it's the expectations of playing alongside Bron. Now, Wes Matthews can't throw it in the ocean, Skip, when he was making 3s all last year for the Mavericks.
So your man, Anthony Davis, that you picked to be the MVP of this league this year.
He out to a slow start.
In the fourth quarter, he made 1 field goal and didn't get to the free throw line and scored 2 points. Does that work?
No.
He got 1 rebound in the fourth quarter. Does that work?
Nope.
Nope, it does not work. So we're back to the issue that you had last year, and you got away with it because it didn't confront you enough. That is, who is the closer for this team? Because I don't see a closer.
Yeah, stop.
I'm sorry. I don't see a closer.
You know what LeBron is. Come on.
Oh, really? Okay. So last night, LeBron had lots of chances to get them back in this game. And if we could see the 2 shots that he took with 2:45 left and then 53.7 left, he took 3s to cut it to 4 and then to 3. And that was way short. And then he tried another big 3 that was long. So, LeBrick. And those were 2 huge shots where, on your home court. I know there aren't any fans, but you could have gotten your team back in the game. You got to close.
So in the fourth quarter, if my math is correctly, the Lakers scored 22 points. LeBron had 13 of those 22. The rest of the team scored 9 on 31% shooting.
Speaking of 9, look at your plus-minus for the fourth quarter. Who was -9, the worst of any Laker who played in the fourth quarter? It was LeBron James.
Skip, he's the only one that played the entire fourth quarter.
-9.
But what was his overall plus-minus? He had 0. So, look, here's the thing, Skip. We count on Anthony Davis. We got a 1-2 combo. It can't be 1. That was the difference in the ball game. CJ had a tough night shooting the basketball, so Gary Trent Jr. came along with Dame.
Yep.
So that's what happens. If LeBron is off, AD and somebody else got to carry the load. If AD is off, it's LeBron and someone else. LeBron didn't have that someone else to come along with him last night. But we got something for your Spurs on Wednesday night. How about that?
Right.
Put a do on that.
Well, we got them back to back.
No. We got y'all like 3 times in like a week.
Okay. I'm putting no due on that.
No.
They don't.
What you mean?
Last time I looked, Manu and Parker and Ginobili, and Duncan are not playing anymore.
Well, last I checked,
maybe they'll come back for the Lakers.
Last I checked, Magic, Kareem, rest your soul, Kobe, and Shaq aren't playing anymore either. So come on, straight up, do. No. One, 2 liter. I'm
already 6 cases up on you for the season. Just for this is the basketball season, so I'm off to a hot start. I'm not going to do that.
Well,
I'll do on. We'll win one of those games. Will you do that? You want to do a sweep?
Yeah.
You'll do a case?
We're sweeping, y'all.
Thank you.
Well, I'm taking the 6 from the 50 cases that you owe me for Lakers winning the title, so I'm down to 44.
You owe me $1 billion. $1 billion. $1 billion, and I didn't collect it yet.
But I paid you off in due. I paid you last year. I gave you 72 cases of due. 72 six-packs, my bad.
All right, we're starting fresh just for this NBA.
Okay, so let's start fresh right now. So all this...
No, I'm up 6 since the start of this season. I'm sorry. I'm just up 6. Okay, so in the end, you realize your Lakers, with the lead going to the fourth quarter, had won 59 straight games.
Yeah, I do.
Well, that's not a good look because you were up 1 going to the fourth, so you weren't up 10, but you were up 1.
It didn't matter.
By the way, you were almost up 3, except for one play that happened late in the third quarter. Derrick Jones Jr. on your man LeBron. If we could see this play.
Man, go ahead, skip it.
I just want to see this play because this is a little bit of a chase. It's like a mini chase down. Get that, you-know-what, out of here, LeBron.
Well, we got him earlier, Skip.
That's
we
a
got him
chase
earlier.
down. That's a lane chase down. That's a LeBron on LeBron, right?
Trey's got to hold that screen. Got to hold that screen long.
Oh, well, he didn't.
That's all
Derrick
right.
Jones Jr., by the way, people have probably forgotten, but you realize he is the reigning slam dunk contest champ.
No, Gordon should have won that. He is, but Gordon should have won.
Well, he
but
won
that's okay. But we got him early. You remember we got him early in the game, Skip.
Jones Jr. He played for the Heat, and they said enough of him. So Portland has now put him in their starting lineup, which is shocking to me.
Well, he's more of a defensive guy.
I guess so. And he did guard LeBron a lot, especially in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, but you see what we did to him in the first quarter. You see what we did to him in the game. Skip, I thought LeBron did what he normally does. LeBron came out, established himself, and said, "Okay, I can get whatever I want whenever I want it." Okay, AD, Schroeder. I thought Schroeder played well, Skip. I think Dennis Schroeder is playing. He might be playing better than they thought.
How many shots did he take last night?
16. And
how many did AD take?
14.
Aha.
Yeah.
Aha. We have somebody who is out shooting the guy that you want to be MVP.
I fought AD. AD must demand the basketball. He must demand it. Skip, I thought what happened earlier is that AD had a couple of shots, Skip, that rimmed in and out. And then he got a couple of, he thought he got fouled and they didn't get called, and he got frustrated. So he started to mope, he started to pout, and then he wasn't hustling back on defense. That's to be expected. He's like, hold on, bro. I'm a champion now. I'm an all-NBA player. I need to get those calls. The calls that LeBron and James Harden and the other great players get, I should get those calls now. And he didn't get them. He got frustrated, but that's all right. San Antonio will pay for that on LaMarcus Aldridge going to play for this on Wednesday.
Okay. So the Glacier that you signed to play in the post for you, Marc Gasol, what is he, 48 now? Or so, he's somewhere up there.
Sometimes he moves like he's 48.
Like he's 48. So he started last night, and he played 19 and a half minutes, and he gave you 7 rebounds and 4 points. But you played Montrez a whole lot of minutes. You see this? You played him 27 minutes and 16 seconds. And he's about 6'6". And guess who kept just abusing him in the post? Cantor came in and just went crazy. Look what Cantor's the offense. Cantor, he ain't gonna play no defense, but he offensive force now.
And
guess what? Enes Kanter had 14 rebounds.
Yes.
4 more than anybody on your team because AD did have 10 rebounds for only 13.
You got to put a body on Cantor.
Okay.
Because a lot of times he'll back tap the ball out of there, and that's what happened last night. Even Nurkic, they had a chance to get the ball, and Nurkic ended up back tapping it out.
Why did the Clippers say no to Montrezl Harrell? Because against Denver, they found that he was a liability because he couldn't even sniff playing Nurkic, who had a huge game last night. I mean Jokic, I'm sorry. Yeah, Jokic, who...
They had Nurkic and Jokic.
They had them both together. But last night, Jokic had 18 assists, and he had a triple-double.
Oh, he's unbelievable.
Okay, but again, Harrell could not even begin to play him. Couldn't even slow him down. And it looked like last night, to me, that Montrez couldn't even slow down Enes Kanter coming off the bench?
Well,
Really?
the biggest thing with Kanter, Skip, is that he's crafty around the basket. He's going to do a lot of up and unders, and, he'll drop step on you and get to the basket. You just got to keep a body on him. Because he's a very active, he's the equivalent of Trez on the defensive end.
And by the way, speaking of Nurkic, he added 12 rebounds.
Yeah.
So those two guys had 14 and 12. There's no Dwight. There's no JaVale. I think you're a little.
They are. And I'm surprised because, Skip, the only true big they have on the roster is Gasol. And the problem that they're going to run into, Skip, if he ever gets in foul trouble, is that now you're going to end up having to play Trez major minutes, or you're going to have to play Keith Morris maybe at the 5. Are you really trying to play one of those guys against Jokic, against Nurkic? DeAndre Ayton. That's not kind of how
So who do I trust in your roster to be the best rebounder night in and night out?
LeBron.
Seriously.
LeBron.
Seriously. At 6'9".
Yeah.
He's the most dependable rebounder.
Yeah.
AD had 10 last night, as I said, but LeBron had 9.
Yeah.
Okay? So he's going to have to play big inside and try to lead the league in assists.
Now, I don't know if he's going to lead the league in assists this year, Skip, because from what you've seen Schroeder's had the ball in his hands an awful lot. I was surprised because they started out the first game, then they went back to LeBron having the ball in his hand. Last 2 games, LeBron has had the ball, but this game, they let Schroeder have it. So I don't know if LeBron is going to have the assist total that he had in any of the years. He might be down around 6 or 7.
So as you lost the fourth quarter at home, 31-22, who did you also miss the most to me? Your third best player last year, Rajon Rondo, not there last night because he had played in Atlanta as the backup to Trae Young. And guess what? He had 12 and 8 assists for Atlanta.
But you see Ice Trae. You see Ice Trae. Ice Trae.
I don't really care about Ice Trae. I do wish Rondo were a Clipper, but he's not a Laker either. So you missed him last night because he would have done damage in the fourth quarter. He would have been thorn in Portland's side in the fourth quarter because he was in the bubble. Every fourth quarter, he disrupted. He ignited.
And Caruso was out, too.
Yeah.
We missed Caruso.
You got a COVID issue with Caruso.
But don't worry about it, Skip. We're only 4 games in.
Yeah, but remember, they have a COVID issue with Melo. They didn't even have Carmelo last night.
Well, you know what? For LeBron, actually, he's going to be facing Skip Spurs tomorrow on LeBron's birthday.
Uh-oh.
We'll have to see.
Skip, you don't have
about
no
that
birthday.
one.
Oh, you don't have no birthday.
Big birthday celebration.
But I got 2 shots for a case. Thank you.
Well, Skip's other team, the Cowboys face the Giants Sunday in a must-win to keep their playoff hopes alive. And according to Fox Bet, they are currently 2.5-point favorites over New York. Meanwhile, Washington is optimistic they will be able to start Alex Smith at quarterback on Sunday night, making them 2-point favorites over Philadelphia in this season's final game. And if Washington wins that game, they would clinch the NFC East regardless of the Cowboys' outcome. So, Shannon, how confident are you about the Cowboys being eliminated on Sunday?
Well, hopefully Alex Smith is able to play. I'm not going to be nearly as confident, Skip, if they got to play Montez, who's a rookie, and Heineke, a guy that's played a couple of games for Ron Rivera while he was in Carolina. So I wouldn't be nearly as confident as I am with Alex Smith. But let's not pretend like this is Alex Smith for 5 years ago. He's a very, very different Alex Smith. But it's going to come down to, Skip, the defense is going to have to win this game. I think the biggest thing is what we saw Sunday is that don't turn the football over. Don't put the opposing team's offense on short fields. Make them have to drive the ball against our defense. Now, the defense is going to have to play better than what they played Sunday. I don't think the defense played that particularly well. Given what they have on the defensive line, Skip, they can play better. And Jack Del Rio, who's the defensive coordinator, he must demand that they play better. But I believe Alex Smith will protect the football enough in order to beat the Eagles. Now, a lot is going to be dependent on Fletcher Cox. If Fletcher Cox is in there, that might be a whole different story. But this is a different team without him on the interior. Because really now I can just slide the protection to take care of Brandon Graham because Barnett is out, the other guy is out. So I like the Washington football team's chances if Alex Smith is the starting quarterback. I like him. I didn't say I love him. I like him. And I would have felt better had he played last week. But you and I said something yesterday, and I tweeted this. When he walked up, when they brought that quarterback in, Heineke in, I said, that's the end of Haskins. I'm shocked. The only reason they didn't cut him after he did what he did, Skip, Ron Rivera felt that he owed it to his team to try to win this game. He owed it to him. But after that debacle, but we should have saw this, Skip. Remember his first win when he's supposed to be on there taking a knee, he's doing a selfie on the sideline? That should have foreshadowed of things to come. But I like their chances. I like their chances with Alex Smith.
I love my team's chances to win the NFC East. I told you last week, I just have a feeling that they're going to win at home against the Eagles and that Washington was going to lose at home to Carolina. Now I like my team's chances even more than I liked them last week because I just have an even stronger feeling this is their year to win.
Skip, the quarterback is hurt for the Giants.
My team has won 3 straight games. My team has taken the ball away in those 3 games 10 times and given it up only 1 time. Andy Dalton has 7 touchdown passes to only 1 interception over the last 3 games. Meanwhile, the Giants have lost their last 3, and Washington has lost its last 2 games. And if you're pinning all your hopes on Alex Smith, I pity you because, to me, in big games past, and you say he's not even what he used to be, but in his career, in big games, Alex has been just another Smith to me because he's come up small and small and smaller in big games. Remember him in San Francisco? They had the home NFC Championship game against Eli, the upstart Giants,
He couldn't get a first down.
And he couldn't get a first down, and they lost at home to Eli on his way to you-know-what. Okay. And then he goes to Kansas City, and he went 1-4 in the postseason in Kansas City.
Skip, they were up 18-0 on Tennessee.
They were. And do you remember he won 1 game against Brian Hoyer, who got the start for the Texans? Remember that? And they won 30-0.
On the road,
But it wasn't much about Alex Smith. It was just about the Chiefs, and it was about Brian Hoyer.
Correct.
Okay, so do I fear Alex Smith against Jalen Hurts in his 4th start? I don't. Jalen Hurts will come up big. He had 411 combined yards against Dallas, and for a while it looked like it was going to be enough until he had 1 late turnover, but my team was on fire on offense.
Well, I think the thing defensively is that you have to understand, Skip, and the mistake that Dallas made early was they were running past him. He run past him, and what did he do, Skip? Out the window he goes, and first down he went. So you have to flatten out. Once you get level with a guy like Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, now you flatten out. Because if you run past him, Josh Allen is that same way. You run past him, you're in trouble. You're inviting yourself up for trouble. But if you look at it, Skip, in the 4 wins that Alex Smith has, the defense is allowing 14 points a game. It's going to have to be a low-scoring game. I do not believe Washington can get into a high-scoring game with the Eagles.
Okay, think of the weapons that Jalen Hurts now has at his disposal. He's got Deshaun Jackson back.
Right.
He's got Alshon back, right?
Yeah.
Wait a second. He still has Greg Ward Jr. He still has Fulgham. He still has Ertz and Goddard at tight end. And he still has Miles Sanders. Okay, is that enough weapons to beat Washington? Yes, it is.
Y'all still got Jack Head over there, and y'all still got Darius Slay playing corner, so I like our chances.
Well, but Jack Head got replaced.
No, put him back in. You got to go back in there, Skip.
No,
you can't be.
He got replaced by another undrafted rookie from Baylor who did pretty well in the second half.
No, he didn't.
So, again, it's against Alex Smith. Alex Smith, last seen when he played in the game at San Francisco. No, at San Francisco before he got hurt.
Yes.
He hurt his calf.
Right.
He had a QBR of 9 and played almost the whole first half. He had a QBR of 9. He was 8 of 19 for 57 yards in the first half.
I got a feeling he'll be something. He'll have like a 70-plus QBR.
And by the way, it looks like, it sounds like, it feels like Zack Martin is going to play for my Cowboys on Sunday. And remember what happened when he did play and moved to tackle at Minnesota? That was their best game of the year, right? 31-28 over the hot Vikings at that point.
Right.
Okay, so what if he comes back and does go to right tackle? It just makes him that much better. It's a big upgrade.
Offers protection because the any chance that the Giants had hope or really think they can beat the Cowboys is going to be relying on the defensive line. Okay. And that's to get pressure on Andy Dalton. Okay,
and flip it around. My man Randy Gregory made the Pro Football Focus All-NFL Weekly Team as an edge rusher. I told you yesterday, he was sensational flying off the edge.
We see D-Law make it 1 week and then disappear for 2 weeks. We saw Alden Smith make it and then disappear. So let's just see if this can stay more than 1 week.
Okay. If D-Law and Randy Gregory show up in New York, I think it'll be a long day for Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
He went down 6 times this past week. Okay.
He can't move.
Well, okay. I'm liking my chances. And by the way, Andy Dalton and Michael Gallup, they got some connection going.
They do.
You think Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs have a connection?
They do.
This is a deep connection. This is a home run connection. I got this. And I think you are sweating it over there because you're not fighting back very hard.
No. I expect you guys to win. I expect you guys to win. But I also expect Washington to win and to make your point moot. That's what I'm hoping.
I think you're hoping against hope, and I think it's nothing but
that's all I got, Skip. Skip, I got a man basically out there that had 17 surgeries on his leg in the last 2 years.
Yep.
And that's what I'm pinning my hopes to. So I don't really know what else you want me to say.
Okay.
You got me over a barrel. So you're asking me for my opinion.
Jalen Hurts only in his 4th start, but I love him in big games, and I think he will come up big in this game because he really came up big at Dallas. It wasn't all his fault. When you combine for 411 total yards, that's a pretty great day in your 3rd start in the NFL.
You got me, Skip. Okay, you got my family hostage. You expect me not to give you my pen?
You don't have any family.
Yeah.
Right?
I do got family.
I got your dogs hostage.
Yeah, exactly. So you down. Okay, Skip. Hey, empty the bank account out. You got me right now. You got me. You in the what we call the cat. You don't know what it is, but you sitting in the catbird seat.
I don't know what a catbird seat is, but it feels real good over here right now. Okay. And I cannot wait until Monday. But you know what? I'm going to come in all humble on Monday.
You see?
I'm going to be humble.
This is the first time, for the whole year, you didn't gloat one time, and now you're starting to gloat. So
Meant
you know.
To be.
Okay. See? You see?
You say my day is coming. It has arrived. Okay. It already came. We're here.
Okay.
Countdown, 6 days.
No mercy. Hey, Undisputed listeners, it's Charlotte Wilder here to tell you about my new podcast with Mark Titus called the People Sports Podcast. It comes out every Thursday, and Mark and I take one of the big stories of the week, and then we go off on tangents you never saw coming. This might mean that we start talking about the Dodgers winning the World Series and end up wondering if Knicks fans deserve happiness. Or begin with LeBron's greatness and end up drafting our ultimate beer league softball team made up of old athletes. Whatever it is, the only rule of the show is that it has to be fun and funny, because these days we could all use as many laughs as we can get. So check it out wherever you get your podcasts and come down weird sports rabbit holes with us. We can't wait to have you.
No mercy.
The Bucs clinched their first playoff berth since 2007 this weekend. And while rumors swirled all season about how the 43-year-old QB didn't get along with his new head coach, Bruce Arians, Brady is poised to have his best statistical season since he won MVP in 2017. In fact, Brady leads the league in both attempts and completions of 20-plus yards, and his overall grade from Pro Football Focus is tied for 2nd with Pro Bowl quarterback Deshaun Watson, even ranking ahead of Shannon's guy, Patrick Mahomes. So, Shannon, how do you explain this?
You know something, like I told Skip the other day, in the words of immortal Miss Billie Holiday, hush now, don't explain. Some things you offer without explanation, and this is one thing that you can't explain. This makes no sense. Nobody that watched the National Football League thinks Tom Brady has outplayed Patrick Mahomes. Thinks he's outplayed. He hasn't even outplayed Josh Allen. I'm just trying to figure out, how do you get a top 2 grade when you're 9th in QBR, you're 10th in traditional passer rating, you're 16th in yards per attempt, you're 18th in completion percentage, you have the 8th most interceptions, and you're 6th in passing yards when you've thrown the 4th most attempts. I just don't know how you get to that. And you look at, okay, so I guess what they didn't do, Jenny, they didn't take into account the Saints game. They lost both. Bears to Nick Foles. Did you know Nick Foles got benched for Mitchell Trubisky, Skip? Oh, okay. The Rams, Jared Goff, when his coach absolutely obliterated him. You lost that one. And somehow, and Patrick Mahomes, let me see, Patrick Mahomes has road wins over the Ravens, Bills, Bucks, Dolphins, and Saints, in which he averaged 30. Now, which one of those teams are going to the playoffs, Jenny, you think? Are the Bills going? Are the Bucks going? Are the Saints going? Because 2 of those guys have won division. And if the Dolphins win on Sunday, they're in the playoffs. If the Ravens beat the Bengals, they're in the playoffs. So I'm confused.
By the way, Jenny's way over there, and she can't help you.
Yeah, I'm just. Well, maybe you can help me. Well, you can help me. I just want to know if any of the teams, if the Ravens, Bills, Bucks, Dolphins, are any of those teams any good? Mahomes beat them all in their building. Now, you talk about, the NFL made it so hard for Tom Brady, they made him open up on the road in New Orleans. How about this? Mahomes, since you won the MVP, you won the Super Bowl last year, Super Bowl MVP, how about going on the road to the Ravens, the Bills, the Bucks, the Dolphins, and the Saints? And I need you to get it done. Roger that. Done deal. Skip, look, Tom Brady has played better than I thought he would. I can see that. But to say he's played better than Mahomes, to say he's played better than Josh Allen, Skip, that's not true. I can't make a case that he's played better than Tannehill. Come on now. I get it. I get it, pro football. Look, Tom Brady going to give y'all an interview one day, and he'll talk to y'all Pro Football Focus, but this is ridiculous.
It's not a lot of good guys working at Pro Football Focus. Chris Collinsworth is actively involved. Mike McCarthy spent all last year involved with Pro Football Focus. So I have respect for their grading system, and it says complete body of work. Tom Brady is tied for second in overall grade for the entire year with Deshaun Watson, trailing Aaron Rodgers.
Skip, let me tell you something. A doctor told me one time, he said, Shannon, doctors that can perform the surgeries. Doctors that can't, they teach the classes. I'm going to leave it at that. So if you're at Pro Football Focus, I need to know why if you're a coach. If you're at Pro Football Focus and you're a general manager, I need to know why. Why are you not running a team? Why are you not coaching a team? Those that can do, those that can't, they tell other people what they should do. You see what I went with that? People at home, hey, O'Shea be on the grind now.
I don't know. Mike McCarthy's team has just won 3 in a row. I don't know.
How do you know what's going on?
He did it by smashing watermelons. I don't know.
So you hanging your hat on that, huh?
That's all I got.
Okay.
So, look, I realize Tom Brady does not look or act the part of the GOAT quarterback. It just somehow rankles you. It cuts against your grain. He doesn't handle himself the way a star-stud, all-time greatest quarterback should handle himself.
Actually, Skip, he's the epitome. He's a basic, garden variety NFL quarterback. All of them has done it like this. From Montana to Elway to Marino to all the greats, he's it. He doesn't say anything. It's golly gee whiz. He's on. They have social media, but he's garden variety. He's everything that you want. He's always going to say the right thing. He's never going to be out of. Every hair is going to be in place. Nothing's going to be out of place. So no, I have no expectations when it comes to anything outside of the scope.
Yeah, except but your quarterback John Elway was more of a gunslinger and. Yeah. He was more of a Wild West hero look to him.
Well,
right?
Skip, that's what Dan turned him into. John wanted to throw the ball like Marino. He felt he could throw the ball like Marino and Kelly, but in Montana. But Dan, Tom Landry, Skip, run the football. And then how did Roger Staubach get captain comeback? Because when all else fell after we done ran the football 35 times and we done fell behind by 14, hey, Roger, can you bail us out? And Roger Staubach, he would do his magic, and you would win to score 15 points in the last 6 minutes of the ball game, and they would win. That's how John was.
Okay, so even Roger Staubach, my favorite all-time Dallas Cowboy, had edge to him, even though he was a Christian out front, wore on his sleeves, Navy guy, Heisman Trophy winner. When push came to shove, when he got pushed and shoved by a backup quarterback once upon a time named Clint Longley, he got sucker punched in the locker room at training camp by him. He took him outside and whipped his you-know-what in front of everybody. Yeah. Okay?
Yeah, you better not do that now. Today, you want to be quarterbacks today.
I got it. Okay. All I know is that Tom Brady is 43 years of age. And our man, Eric Dickerson, you can argue the greatest Ram ever. I think the greatest running back ever. Now the Rambassador. He has sat right here in this chair once upon a time. And he said he is nothing but an old-ass man playing quarterback. This old-ass man at 43 is having an extraordinary year.
He is.
However you want to slice and dice it.
He's having an unbelievable year.
Just all-time unbelievable year, because as Pro Football Focus, I know you don't have much respect, if any respect, for them, but they conclude that they gave him the 4th highest single game grade in the past decade. That in their time of ranking quarterbacks per game, single games, that his game at Detroit against the lowly Lions, we know, and they had a bunch of coaches that were COVID out, had COVID issues, and yet he put up a 93.3. It's the 4th best single game Pro Football Focus grade of the past decade. And they conclude that the 43-year-old quarterback has had countless incredible performances throughout his 21-year career, but this one against the Lions was one of his best. So for me, I'm just going eye test. You have repeatedly tried to convince me his skills have eroded, that he has lost arm strength. And I got to tell you, I see zero loss of arm strength on deep balls, on out routes, on any intermediate route that it's a tight window throw, or in red zone throws, he throws fastballs. He threw one to Antonio Brown for his 4th touchdown pass of the half, and it had some juice on it.
Skip, when I look at guys as they start to age and they play professional sports, and a lot of guys can attest to this, Tom Brady can play good for a half, first half, maybe the second half, or maybe put a game together. But we have yet to see him put them games together, back to back to back to back, where he could once upon a time. That's what we have.
All I know is his second half at Atlanta.
What happened the first half? That's my point.
320 in the second half, followed by 348 in the first half.
Well, if that's the case,
so he needed a few days off to recover from 320 so he could throw for 348.
So, in other words, you're just going to bring him in the second half since the first half don't matter, right?
668 yards in back-to-back halves.
Let me ask you a question, Skip. Skip, be it in all objectivity, do you think Tom Brady has outplayed Patrick Mahomes this season?
I do not. But their grading system says that he has. And I will say this. Patrick Mahomes has disappointed me over the last 7 games because I think he has slowly eroded this year.
But think about this.
I will give you the big picture because of all those games on the road that they won early. If I go body of work, it feels like Patrick Mahomes has been a little better than Brady. But do not underestimate just how great Brady has been on a consistent basis, except for one horrible night against New Orleans.
So did he play well the first time against New Orleans?
I thought he played pretty well, given that they'd had no preseason games. He was
what about Chicago? How did he play against Chicago?
He was hit and miss down the stretch, but he had pretty good numbers in that game. And
what about the Rams?
All you do is do this 4 thing, and I'm going, well, 4. That's what he threw 4 touchdown passes against Detroit the first half. But maybe that's what he was doing.
No, let me ask you a question. So what about the Rams? How did he do against the Rams?
Not great.
Not great at all.
Yep.
Now you said, and everybody you said Patrick Mahomes has disappointed you the last 7 games with 7 dubs. He's disappointed you with 7 dubs. Let that sink in for just a second.
Winning by an average margin of 3.8 points a game.
Think about this, Skip. We complain about Patrick Mahomes winning by less than 4, but we heap praise on Brady when he loses and throws for a bunch of yards.
Okay. So remember, this man, think about circumstances. Has Patrick Mahomes been with Andy Reid for a while? Yeah. This is what, 4th year?
The GOAT don't matter.
Oh, okay.
You told me the GOAT don't matter. You say Tom Brady, the GOAT doesn't matter.
43 joins a brand new team with all new teammates and all new coaching staff with no preseason whatsoever. And you're holding him to the highest grading system. You are saying, well, show me something. And you said he's a dink and dunker who's going to be stuck and lost in a bombs away system, right?
Skip.
Okay, look what deep passing completions. He's got 33 of them. That's number 1 in the NFL. You know why? No risk it, no biscuit. He's doing what Bruce Arians wants to do. Look at his passing yards when kept clean this year. You say, well, if you protect him, when they do protect him, he has number 1. Nobody has thrown for more yards when kept clean.
Okay, you got a lot of stats over there. Where is he at when he's pressured?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. All I know is you say, any quarterback, if you keep him clean. No, not this one. You keep him clean, he will be at the top. That's what Bruce Arians said last week. If you keep him clean, he's as good as anybody doing it right now.
I guarantee you, he's not in the top 20 when pressured. I bet you Aaron Rodgers is. I bet you Patrick Mahomes is.
Well,
I bet you Josh Allen is.
Yeah. Well,
but Skip, you said something that Tom Brady's the GOAT and he went to a new team. Skip, I don't know how much you follow Formula One, but I follow it a little bit. And I know who Lewis Hamilton is. And if I'm not mistaken, he drives for Mercedes. So let's just say for the sake of for this discussion right here, and he's the best driver. I believe he's better than Schumacher. All of a sudden, he says, you know what, Mercedes, I'm done with you guys. I'm going to Ferrari. How long do you think it'll take him to pick up if he's the GOAT like everybody says he is in Formula One?
Okay, how many teammates do you really have when you're in the car?
When you got a bunch of teammates, you got a spotter, don't do that,
It's
Skip.
up to you.
No, don't
all
do that.
By yourself.
Don't do that,
You
Skip.
really don't have to depend on anybody.
Yes, you do.
All your decisions. All your decisions.
Oh, my goodness. Skip, you got crew chief, you got spotters, you got everybody. Come on, Skip, don't do that.
No, this is not like football teammates.
Oh, my goodness.
You know this, and I know it. Bad analogy. No.
Oh, my goodness.
Stop it.
Well, you don't want to give Skip. I understand. Tom is great. But you want to make it seem like Tom is out there calling the offense, the defense, the special teams. He's bringing the ice. He's bringing the Gatorade. He's doing all that. Stop this.
Air distance. He's now second in the league in air distance, but most of the league, he has led the whole league in air distance, so nobody's throwing the football farther than Tom Brady.
Skip.
Well, you said he's a dink and dunker.
Skip,
you said last year he was horrible.
Skip, that's a meaningless stat. Who led the majors in pop flies? What the hell is that? Did you hit the ball out the yard?
Another bad analogy.
No, it's not, Skip. You talk about air distance. Is the ball completed? You talk about how far he threw the ball down the field without it being completed.
Told you, deep passing completions, 33 leads the league by far. By far.
So I'm talking about air distance. I'm talking about air distance.
Deep passing yards. Deep passing yards. He's second in the league with 1,132. So he is bombs away, and he's doing exactly what you said he could not do this year.
Oh, my goodness, Skip.
Well, do you see any decline in his throwing ability?
Tom Brady has...
Do you see any erosion in his velocity?
Tom Brady.
No.
Tom
You're
Brady.
not answering the question.
Skip.
No.
Skip, I opened the show. Tom Brady has played better than I thought he would. But just
That's
because...
sort of a grudging backdoor...
No.
Damning with faint
No, it ain't
praise.
no damning with faint praise.
Yeah.
But to say that he's played better than I thought he would, and because he's played better than many thought he would, he's played better than Mahomes, or he's played better than than Allen, is not true.
No mercy.
The Patriots struggled again last night, falling to Josh Allen and the Bills 38-9. Cam Newton was benched for Jarrett Stidham in the second half after completing just 5 passes for 34 yards, and Bill Belichick's normally staunch defense gave up season highs in both points and yards allowed. New England was already eliminated from the playoffs entering the evening, but now they have to beat the Jets in Week 17 just to avoid ending the season on a 4-game losing streak. And, of course, on the flip side, Tom Brady only had to play the first half in Saturday's playoff-clinching win for his new team down in Tampa. Fox Sports NFL analyst James Harrison is with us now. James, you played in New England, so we're going to get your take on the value of Brady versus Belichick in a second. But Skip apparently has something he was wondering about first.
I do. Mr. Harrison, I've got to ask you about this all-time great FanDuel commercial that you are starring in right now. I've seen it 50 times, and I can't wait to watch it for a 51st time. But I have to know, in making this commercial, did you actually tackle this poor man in the commercial?
So the man in the commercial, I didn't actually tackle him. I tackled his stunt double. So
Tackled his son.
That guy right there, that's a real tackle.
Stunt
That's
double.
me.
I thought you said son. I'm sorry.
But
yeah,
he has on football pads underneath. So the stunt guy was actually way skinnier than the actual he was. So he was able to put on football pads underneath so that when I hit him, it didn't really hurt. And then you can see how I land. I make sure I put my hands out so I don't land on top of him. You know how it goes, Shannon. Normally you move your hands, grind into him. They made
you ain't put the shoulder to it.
Doorway, so they shrink the doorway like 6 inches. So when I'm coming through it looked like I'm filling it up a regular doorway, but they shrunk it a little bit. So it looked it looked a lot more than what it actually it was. But
so
it was a good time.
were you moving at full speed when you first make contact?
So about 3/4, because you got to make it look real.
Yep.
So I actually have to hit him, lift him, and part of that is him jumping too with it as you hit him, and flailing out and all that. So it looks good. He's a stunt guy. He knows how to take a hit. So, but yeah, I actually had to hit him and everything you see on there is me.
Good for you.
No, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So, James, let's get back to the topic at hand.
Mm-hmm.
Is Brady proving now that he was far more valuable in New England than Belichick was?
Currently, right now, this year, yes. I'll go with it just like I went with it before. When you go over the long haul of it, Brady can only play so many years. He can coach, and he's been seen to be able to coach at a high level for a long time. A coach only has to go out there and make sure his X's and O's are correct and be able to scheme and plan against other offenses, defenses, and do it well and get the players in place that are able to execute the plan that he's putting out there. Right now, Brady is, he's way more valuable than what Belichick could have ever been for this year. In the long haul of it, it's going to be, I believe, Belichick that's going to be more valuable.
Really? Okay.
This is why I disagree, James, because I believe that Coach Belichick doesn't have the same team players. If you look at what Brady left New England, no receivers, no tight ends, and then he goes and he's with the most talented, skilled position players of his whole 21-year career. Gronk, AB, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. It's like, I give you a similar situation. You played for the great Dick LeBeau. Dick LeBeau coached at Cincinnati. He coached at Tennessee. He never had the success that he had at those places that he had in Pittsburgh. Why not? Because he didn't have a James Harrison. He didn't have a Troy Polamalu. He didn't have a Woodley. He didn't have a Ryan Clark. He didn't have what he had there. So in order for you to say it's got to be comparable, you got to give me the same level of players, one place, and then if I don't succeed, says, okay, my system isn't any good. But I don't believe Coach Belichick, all the opt-outs he had, from Hightower to Chung, he lost Kyle Van Noy, he lost Roberts, he traded Harmon. Gilmore has been in and out of the lineup. So for me, I don't believe he's proven it because Coach Belichick doesn't have near the talent that Tom joined in Tampa.
Yeah.
I understand that, but if you just go back to to the position itself, look at the production, that he got out of his quarterback or quarterbacks in New England and what, Thomas did over there in New England. I understand he has a different, supporting squad, but I mean, come on now, like you can get a quarterback to be able to do a little bit better than what you've seen in New England this year.
But you heard what James said. He's saying long-term, Belichick will prove to be more valuable. It's just this year he's saying Brady's got him for a year.
But Skip, we saw 2008 when Matt Castle came in and had the same level of talent. Coach Belichick had the same level of talent. He didn't make the playoffs, but he went 11-5. There's a possibility that 11-5 team can miss the playoffs this year. So it's abnormal that it happens. I just think the thing is that Tom was smart enough to see the writing on the wall. Like, man, I can't win no championship. I can win some games. And Skip, he went to the playoffs last year. But he's like, I can't win no championship with this. How am I going to win a championship? I got no Gronk. I got no receiver that doesn't pose a threat to anybody. And you want me? Nah, I can't do it anymore, Coach.
Okay, I'm going to remind you.
So you believe in the short and long haul that he made that Brady is the right choice?
I just knew Coach Belichick thinks that there's a shelf life. And I think it was Coach Wall, Skip, that says once a guy, Brady has defied time because normally when a guy hit 30, he's about to slow down. But these quarterbacks now, they're playing well into their 30s. And a lot of them are going to approach their 40s. But Coach Belichick had it in his mind that he wanted to go in a different direction without Tom Brady. That's what this was. This was about credit. And he got tired of Tom Brady getting the credit. Tom's like, okay, I was sharing it with you, but okay, you want me out? I go, and I'm going to go right down here.
I don't think it was a credit thing. I think it came down to him seeing, that, Tom is getting older. To keep his legacy going, he needs to try and switch it up and get somebody in there or had the ability to get somebody in there that can, he can coach into being, another quarterback that can lead him to a Super Bowl. And like you said, he didn't have the weapons that he needed. So I think a big part of that was the reason why Tom, he ended up leaving and going to Tampa because he's like, you know what, I'm going to sit here. I've been sitting here for the last couple of years asking for certain weapons and I'm not getting them. What's going to change now? And I understand that.
Okay, I'm going to remind both of you. Tom Brady says he's going to play until he's 45, and I'm not going to bet against him. Shannon has been trying to retire him for each of the last 4 years. And now it looks like for sure he's going to come back next year.
Oh, yeah.
And I think he's only getting started in what I call Tampa Bay. And I believe that Bill Belichick is in trouble in New England because he does not have that position. He does not have a quarterback. Cam gave him all he had to give him. Cam had one sensational night at Seattle and should have pulled it off if you, as you said, if he just bounced it outside. That would have been their big win of the year. But they barely lost. Cam had a sensational numbers night, but since then, next to nothing.
I think he played pretty good in Buffalo.
You know,
He fumbled.
he had him on the ropes.
Yep.
But he's got 5 touchdown passes to 10 interceptions, and his QBR has plummeted all the way to 29th in the league. It just doesn't look like he's going to be the long-term answer in New England. Jared Stidham, the more I watch, the less I like him. So I don't see Jared Stidham stepping up and being the next Tom Brady picked out of the 4th round as a diamond in the rough by Bill Belichick. I'm sorry, I don't see it. He's completed 50% of his passes so far this year. So it looks to me like Bill Belichick is getting exposed because he's not able to team build, and he always had the ability to buy all the groceries in New England, but he always had the quarterback. And to me, the quarterback, as James experienced in that brief time he was up there, he just might be the greatest leader in the history of sports. And he kept that locker room together when it wanted to mutiny against Belichick. And I'm going to remind everybody, Belichick had 4 losing seasons in 5 in Cleveland and got fired. And then he came to New England and he went 5-11 the first year and was 0-2 when Brady fell out of heaven into his lap. Obviously, that he had signed off on taking him in the 6th round, but it wasn't Belichick's pick in the 6th round. It was the scouts' choice and pushed for him to be picked in the 6th round. So the point was, Bill Belichick at that point in his head coaching career was 12 games under 500. So I give you, if you want to talk greatest defensive coordinator ever, he's certainly in the conversation. I'll give you the edge. I'll give you Bill Belichick, greatest defensive mind in history. But, man, if you don't have that quarterback and that leader in the locker room to let you get away with how you treated players for 20 years in New England when nobody else could have gotten away with it, that's why I give 75% of the credit to Brady. And I think you're seeing it starting to teeter and crumble without Tom Brady because I don't see an answer at quarterback. I don't see him snapping his fingers and getting that guy next year to go forward with. So I think he's in big trouble.
I think also with just the way players are, the way they are today. Like you have, a bigger social media presence. Guys want to, go out there and do the TikTok, do that. A big thing in their locker room is no social media. You can't do that. Guys want to have fun. It's the era that me and Shannon grew up in, where you come in, you tough as nails, you chew on nails, and you spit them out. Those guys aren't there anymore. You won't find a guy like me now that's undrafted. Coming in and being able to put a resume together. Like I did, because they really just won't have the opportunities. For one, because of how the draft things is set up, and really they just don't have a drive like that anymore. Everybody wants something to be handed to them, and that's the big thing that's going on now is, see a lot of guys, whether they earned it or not, first, second rounder, you're just throwing them in there to play. Back when, I played with Dick LeBeau, it was, you got to sit here and you got to learn. You may come in and get playing time, but it was, it was like a 2-year learning curve, for anybody that actually, stepped in, no matter, what position they were, because it was complicated to learn the defense. And I think right now, with the whole different, way of how guys think and how they, react to, being treated or being, tough love or whatever you may call it, it's not going to be too conducive. And like you said, you don't have time there to, be the guy to say, hey, this is what it is. Let's go.
The thing that Tom did the most, and what he set the template for, Skip, is that the brand that he was trying to build was a brand of football.
It was.
I'm not saying guys don't come in and try to build your brand, but if you build your brand off anything other than winning, it's not sustainable. That's why guys that build a brand that's sustainable. You look at Peyton Manning, he won. You look at the guys that win. All that dancing, at some point in time, people gonna get tired of seeing you dancing. They're going to want to see you win. They want to see you score. They want to see that. They want to see that. So I'm not telling a guy, don't build a brand. Sure, build a brand. But you better have that foundation built on winning, because if it's not, they're going to get you up out of there. Skip, it's simple. Production and tolerance. As long as production's up here, tolerance will be up here. But the minute production comes here, tolerance won't be above production.
Okay, to sum this up, is Buffalo going away next year? I don't think so.
No.
Right?
No, they built for the long haul. They built for the long haul. That kid, Skip, I was thinking, what if Cleveland had taken Saquon #1? The Giants probably would have taken Baker #2, and they take Josh Allen #3. Oh, my goodness. I'm glad they didn't do that.
Okay, but my point is, do you see New England flipping the switch and turning around next year and making the playoffs?
No.
I don't see it.
No. Normally, Skip, when you look at all the dynasties, especially like Pittsburgh, because San Francisco is different. Green Bay is different because they went from one Hall of Fame transcendent quarterback to another.
Yep.
But look at Pittsburgh. When Terry Bradshaw retired, it was until they got Big Ben.
Look at Buffalo after
Jim Kelly, yes.
Miami,
they think they found him. They're hoping they found it in Tua. But if you don't have that replacement, you struggle.
You do.
No mercy.
The Lakers lost to the Blazers 115-107 last night. Damian Lillard scored 21 of his 31 points in the second half, and the Lakers lost for the first time in 60 games when leading entering the fourth quarter. LeBron finished with 29 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists in over 35 minutes of the second game of a back-to-back. A bit surprising considering the Lakers were open to some sort of load management with LeBron after a short offseason. So, Shannon, I ask you, are you surprised that LeBron played over 35 minutes on the second night of a back-to-back?
No, because, Skip, he only played 26 minutes on Sunday. He played, no minutes in the fourth quarter against Minnesota. Played 31 minutes on Christmas Day. 4 minutes in the fourth quarter. So he's averaging about less than 30 minutes a game through the first 3 games. So I'm not surprised. And he knows, Skip, in order for you to get in shape, Skip, you're going to have to build. And I thought he built last night. And the game was close. Now, I was surprised, Skip. Not that he played 35. I was surprised that he played the entire fourth quarter. But I thought the game was hung in the balance, and he felt like, okay, let's try to make this push. The Lakers are trying to build, Skip. It's going to take a while for them to get used to Schroeder. They're going to try to establish a fourth quarter lineup, a lineup that they can finish the game with. Normally last year, Skip, that was Caruso, Rondo, LeBron, AD, and maybe someone else. So it's going to be interesting to see. They're still trying to find that cohesiveness that it's going to take, and it's early on. So I am not surprised that he played that many minutes, considering how few minutes he had played in the previous 2 games. So I think this is something moving forward. But I still believe, Skip, he's going to be, last year he played the fewest minutes of his career, which was about 34. I believe he'll be under that this year. I believe he'll be probably 33, maybe even 32 minutes a game.
So you and I went back and forth before the season started. Again and again, we must have done this topic 15 times on the show about how soon will they start.
Right.
And I said, well, just financially, they have to start before Christmas just to make up what they've lost.
Correct.
And you said, well, they just can't. It's too short a turnaround. No, they will. Most people said, well, it'll be Martin Luther King Day.
Right.
So it'd be like maybe a month or so
another month,
later,
right.
I said, no, it's got to be before Christmas because they need that big Christmas Day slate in the ratings it will bring.
Right.
And that's what they did. So LeBron recently on The Shop said, I'm cherry picking the whole first half of the season, meaning I'm not going to play back-to-backs. I'm going to pick and choose when I will play because you're making me start too early.
Well, what they did, you see what they did? They put a pill in there, a national televised game. They find you $100,000 if you don't play your star players. Now, if you want to wrestle the back-to-back and you guys not on television, have at it. But if it's a TNT, ABC, ESPN game, we can't have our stars.
So my friend Danny Green even said a month or so ago that I wouldn't. This is before he was out. And he thought he was still going to be a Laker. It may have been 6 weeks ago. I wouldn't expect LeBron to be with us for the first month of the season. He said, "Wow, really?" Okay, so we get to the first back-to-back at home. I don't know if it was on national TV. I watched it on local TV.
No. It was supposed to be on NBA TV.
I don't know if it was. Oh, maybe it was on NBA TV. Was it? I'm not even sure.
Well, it always comes on Spectrum here.
I just watch it local, so I don't know.
Unless it's on ABC, Skip, we have to watch it. We have to watch it on Spectrum. 691, the Laker channel.
691 here in Los Angeles. I was a little surprised he played because I thought it was a sweet spot.
Are you surprised he played or surprised he played that much?
Played at all.
Okay.
I just thought he'd give his body a back-to-back rest and just say, no, I can't do this one. Or you pick and choose. You don't play against the T-Wolves first, and then you play against Dame and company in the second game. But he played both of them, and I told you up front, I first guessed this, he needs to play basketball. That's what he does. And again, his whole GOAT case that he's making is going to ultimately be based more on longevity records than on you need Kareem. So I call this, I call baloney on him, I call baloney on anybody who said, oh, he'll be cherry-picking.
Well, we're going to cherry-pick. We're going to rest. So we're going to rest within the game. That's why we're going to let Schroeder handle the point. We're going to let Schroeder do that the first half of the season, and then we're going to pick that thing up the last half.
He played 36 minutes last night. I know he played limited or lesser minutes the other night, but still, you played 12 minutes of the fourth quarter, so you didn't rest a second of the fourth quarter.
Nope.
You need to play, and I don't blame him for this. I'm just calling baloney on anybody who said he's going to cherry pick starting with him.
We cherry pick. We rest within the game.
No.
There's a game within the game, and that's what we're good at. We're good at playing the game within the game. Somehow you don't know how we do this, but we rest while we playing. It's like a marathoner, Skip. You know, he running at the same Kipchoge. He's running, but he's actually cruising. And then the last 4 or 5 miles, he picked that pace up. What was a 4:20 pace, he going to drop that thing down to 4:10, 4:12.
I ran a whole bunch of marathons, and I got to tell you, I never felt like I was cruising for 1 second.
You're not kidding. You Oklahoman.
I ran under 3 hours about 5 times. I ran a 2:47.
Skip, he went under 2 hours.
I know. I ran a 6:22 pace, but I'm not that guy. But again, trust me, when you're running 6:20 a mile, there is no cruising going on.
I mean, I done ran 1 mile under 6 minutes, Skip. I mean, I ain't saying nothing.
No, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, I've run a 10K where I averaged 5:15 a mile.
No. But Skip.
That's 6.
Somebody my size running a sub 6 minute mile.
That's very impressive. I will give you that. I don't think you could do it at this moment.
I can't even get in my car and drive that fast.
Okay, I got it. But the point is that he needs to play because he needs to stay on schedule because he's got a chance to pass Kareem.
Oh, he's going to pass Kareem.
My guesstimate on this is he needs about 2.5 more seasons. But those aren't cherry-picking seasons.
No.
Right?
I was thinking, I was like, damn, could he possibly get this record in 19 seasons? But I don't think he can. It's going to take him. It's going to take Kareem play 20. It's going to take him 20.
Okay.
Now, I believe he'll probably pass Mailman probably end of this year, the beginning of next year.
Okay, Karl Malone.
Yeah.
And yet he also has sitting out there, he could pass Magic Johnson on the all-time assist list, which would be very impressive within Laker Nation.
Yeah. It
would just sound good. You'd be 5th on the all-time assist list.
Right.
Chris Paul's still rising up the list, so you're probably not going to catch him.
I mean, if you think about it, Skip, like 5 of the top 10 scorers of all time will have played for the Lakers. I mean, you look at Kareem, you look at Wilt, you look at LeBron, you look at Kobe.
Yep.
So, 4 or 5 of the top of all time would have donned that uniform.
Okay. And you still have other longevity records, such as Robert Parrish. I
don't think you get that one.
That's 4. You need 4 seasons of staying right with it, where you need to play just about every night.
Yeah, Skip, I don't know if he can get that one, Skip. That's a long time.
You got Kareem's minutes played, all-time minutes played, which would be very impressive. And you need about 3 strong seasons to get there.
Skip, big Skip, they don't exert the kind of energy that LeBron is required to exert. Because, at Kareem later stage, Kareem just grab the rebound, come on down, throw the sky hook, moves on back down the court.
All right. So what LeBron needs to do is he needs to play just about every night. And if they're blowing somebody out, you just keep playing.
No.
Play into the fourth quarter.
No, Skip.
You play 4 or 5 minutes in the fourth quarter because you need to pile up the numbers.
You can, but Skip, at the end of the day, and I'm sure LeBron wants that numbers, but it's about getting championships. I remember in '98, Skip, when TD went over 2,000, there were some games. Terrell Davis. There were some games that he was out he played to the half. He played the half against the Cowboys because he had a $160. And he played against the half against the Eagles because he had like a $160. There were some games that he only played to the half, but if he had played, he'd ran for 2,300 yards. But how effective would he have been come playoff time? Because at the end of the day, we all wanted TD to get 2,000. But we wanted TD to be TD come playoff time because we know we were not winning if he wasn't going to be TD.
Okay, well, obviously, it's a higher contact sport that you played than this sport, although he does take some contact.
But, Skip, we need them minutes. So, because come playoff time, Skip, where the minutes going to be? 38, 39, maybe even 40. And so we would rather save it and have those minutes on the end as opposed to expending those minutes. We'll get that. But right now, we still got a chance at the championship.
Okay, I got it. I'm going to knock on wood before I say this, but he is Iron Man.
Yep.
He is the most durable superstar I have ever closely observed in any sport that I've ever closely observed, in any sport. He is that guy. And in fact, against the Clippers on opening night, he turned his ankle over, and most guys would have been gone for 2 weeks.
And he turned it over again against on somebody's foot against the Timberwolves. And you saw Ja Morant, he turned his ankle over and he left on the wheelchair.
That's fine. But again, I'm giving him props for this.
Oh, yeah,
he's
doable, Skip, yeah.
You know, just don't tell me you're going to rest and cherry pick.
We going to rest, Skip.
Nope, you're
Skip,
not.
we rest within the game. You have to understand how to take a blow within the game, Skip. That's what you got to do.
Your team a lot of good.
You got to do that.
Because you can only rest on the defensive end for the most part.
We rest on the offensive end. We let Schroeder handle that. We let AD handle some of that scoring load. We get off in the corner.
Okay, just go stand in the corner?
Yep.
That probably doesn't do your team a lot of good either.
Hey, y'all for the next couple of possessions, Schroeder, you and AD handle this load.
Okay, so you're going to cherry pick during the game.
You rather us cherry pick during the game or cherry pick the entire game, Skip?
I don't care what you do, frankly. You can cherry pick the next couple of nights if you'd like.
Well, we off tonight.
Spurs.
No,
seriously.
No, hold up. If he doesn't play, now the bet's off.
No,
Skip, wait a minute.
It is time for some cherry picking.
Hold on. So
I love those cherries down in San Antonio.
let me get this straight.
You know what? They're ripe in San Antonio right now.
So let me get this right. The bet is still in play even if LeBron doesn't play.
Sure. You made it. I didn't make it.
Skip, you ought to be a champion.
You proposed it.
I did, but I was expecting him to play. But if he doesn't play, the bet's off. I wouldn't do you like that.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. But it'll be his birthday, so you got to admit he wants to play on his 36th birthday. Something to celebrate, Shannon. You might have a little party for him in some capacity.
Oh, yeah, his birthday tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
It's Tonka's birthday, too, tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, that's not a coincidence, if you ask me. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, Tiger's birthday tomorrow, too. Yeah.
Geez, a lot of birthdays.
No mercy.
The Washington football team officially released Dwayne Haskins yesterday. Haskins was already on thin ice with the franchise due to his off-the-field handling of the league's COVID policies. But then he threw 2 interceptions and lost a fumble before being benched for Taylor Heineke in Washington's potential division-clinching game on Sunday. For his part, Haskins tweeted this, that he vows to, quote, become a better man and player because of this experience. So, Shannon, what percentage of the blame is on Haskins for how things ended here?
Skip, they say that you can only do when people make fun, like, I'm going to give 110%, 120%, 1,000%. Well, considering that 100 is high as you can go, he's 100% of the blame for what happened to Dwayne Haskins. Skip, we talked about it earlier segment, production and tolerance. As long as production is high, tolerance will be high. And then they will tolerate you until they can replace you. Dwayne Haskins did not build up the field cachet. He wasn't playing like Patrick Mahomes. He wasn't playing like Deshaun Watson to go and get caught in a misgiving like that. And I get it, Skip. Oh, he went up. But you have to understand where we are in 2020, today's society. With what's going on, that in and of itself, plus you couple the fact, man, my head coach just did 8 weeks of chemo. Man, his immune system. Man, I can't put him in a situation like that. My teammates are counting on me. That's why they say football is the hardest sport to win a championship is, Skip, because one guy could blow the whole thing up.
Yep.
So he's 100% responsible. And then the reports are coming out, his study habits, his practice habits, I've seen it before. Every coach I've ever had, from Dan Reeves to Wade Phillips to Mike Shannon to Brian Billick, they all told us the same thing. Let us cut you. Don't you cut yourself. Skip, I was with a guy, Skip. They asked him, we'd be sitting in the meeting. Such and such, what you got on this play? Huh? Huh means he was asleep. Because Skip, they used to have, hey, Sean, what you 84, what you got on this? What you got on this? I can just spit it up. I'm paying attention. I say, bro, now, if you don't stop this, they're going to cut you. Simple as that. Man, Sharp, they're not playing me. I need to be playing, man. You know. I said, bro, I'm telling you now, I've been at this a long time. I say, you not producing, all you doing is playing scout team, and you're sleeping in the meeting. I come over there one Tuesday, Skip, to get my workout in. Man, they got your boy sharp, hey. You were right, you right. Dwayne Haskins, how long you thought they was going to let this keep going? That you could do your behavior off the field, coupled with your performance on the field. How long did you think they were going to let this happen? Bruh, you are professional. This ain't Ohio State. You play for college tuition if you have kids. You play for mortgages, not housing, not books. You play for future. And you, Skip, does he understand there's always going to be a time for you to go to the club? Skip, I'm 50 if I want to go to 52. If I want to go to every night, I can do that. But not when I'm playing. I'm going to make that money. I ain't giving none of them no money back. I'm not going to be late for a meeting. You're not going to find me for nothing. He doesn't get it. Hopefully he gets another opportunity and he'll learn from this mistake. But let this, not only him, but let others see, bruh, they mean business. And if your production doesn't match the tolerance level, they're going to get you up out of there. It's as simple as that. It ain't no black. He went to if he was in a better situation, he was in a great situation. He chose to do other things. Other things were more important than football. So now he gets an opportunity. He go to the strip club every day. What you want to bet, Skip? He ain't at the strip club every night now. I bet he ain't there every night. Because pretty soon the money going to run through. The money going to jump funny. And you see. But hopefully he gets an opportunity. Hopefully he learned his lesson. Hopefully others see this, learn their lesson, and we won't, but it ain't going to happen to me.
Okay, I hear everything you just said. And when it comes to dedication to an opportunity that you were given, I have little to no sympathy for what he didn't do because he didn't dedicate himself. And these jobs, they're precious.
Give me only 32 of them.
You know?
He had a starting job.
And someday he'll wake up. Someday, I don't know how long it'll take, 10 years, 20 years,
Today.
30 years, maybe. But he'll look back at some point and say, God, I had the opportunity of a lifetime. And they don't come along very often. And you just have to maximize it.
You do.
Okay. So, yet, in the end, I'm only going to give him 50% of the blame. The reason being, when it comes to quarterback, it's a different animal than the guys the other teammates you're telling you. You got to be dedicated. You got to give it your all.
Yes.
Sometimes it doesn't matter if you're giving your all at quarterback because a lot of times it boils down to you can either play it or you can't play it. And again, I'm not being 20/20 hindsight on this. I said before he was drafted, I just couldn't see him as a first-round pick.
Right.
Well, I think a whole lot of people couldn't see him as a first-round pick.
Only one person.
Except one person did. And he's not a scout. He's not a GM. He's not a personnel director. He owns the Washington football team.
Yes.
And he's had a history of this. With Robert Griffin III, he had a history of this. I love that kid. I love him. I want to live with that kid. I want him to come to my office every day. Robert's tremendous. He's got great charisma, and he wanted RG3, and then...
Mike didn't have a Skip. Mike didn't have a problem, but he says, Dan, we in salary cap hell, you just had to pay 30 because Skip, remember they tried to put all the money in that 1 year. So they ended up losing $38 million in cap space. Mike was trying to explain to him, if you trade up all your draft capital to get this young man, how do you build a roster when you can't sign free agency, when you're $38 million less in cap space and you have no capital?
Mike Shannon, your coach, was the coach. Was
the coach there. He's like, I like him too. He said, but if you give up this.
Got it. Okay, so in this case, it didn't require trading up to the top of the draft. It just required sitting right there at 15 and saying, we'll take him.
Right.
I assume it played a big part in this that Dwayne Haskins starred at a Washington, D.C. area high school at which now the son of Dan Snyder now attends. Okay? So there's a connection there. Son loves it. You know, he's captivating.
Right.
Brought him in for an interview. Oh, I love this kid. You know, he'd be great around here. Can he play? Because that's all that really matters. So the reason I can't completely condemn Dwayne Haskins is I don't think he was good enough to live up to the hype and the expectations to begin with.
You could be right, Skip. But, Skip, when we're growing up, man, if I get an opportunity, not one time says, if I get that opportunity, I'm going to mess it up. Okay. You always think, Skip, I'm going to do, man, I'm going to go on time, I'm going to do my, Skip, we don't know if he can't play, but how about study? How about practice hard?
I got it, but it's so different. Like James Harrison just said on our show, hey, it's hard to be an undrafted free agent and make it, but he made it on defense, defensive end, pass rusher.
Right.
Where you can do it on effort. You can do it on desire.
Well, he started out on special teams.
He did.
The quarterbacks ain't going to play no special teams.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
He either play a quarterback or that's it. I made it on special teams, Skip, before I got to play receiver.
It's hard to just try hard and be a great quarterback because you can't, it's hard to overachieve. You can for a couple of weeks, 3 or 4 weeks.
Right.
You've seen they'll come and they'll go. They'll have flashes. They're 15 minutes of fame. But in this case, I just don't think he was good enough to live up to the 15th overall pick, and then you get thrown into the fire, and all of a sudden you got a coaching change, and Ron Rivera comes in. He gave him the shot for the first 4 games this year. Nope, he wasn't good enough.
I'll give you a prime example. Chase Daniels has made $38 million. But you know what he does? He practices hard.
Definitely.
He studies hard. He comes on time. Skip, he couldn't play dead in the Western.
Nope.
But somehow he's managed to stay he stayed like almost 10 years with 5, 6, 7 different teams.
Mostly as a backup.
Mostly as a backup. You mean to tell me he can't fool him long enough to play backup and make him $30, $40 million?
No, that's a whole other issue. He can't go forward.
Yes.
I'll buy that because he's got a big arm. He's got a much bigger arm than Chase.
Yes. Skip, all you got to do, Skip, just come. I'm going to fool him. I'm going to come here and take my notes, practice hard. He going to go out there and going to.
Okay, I got it.
Mess off his money.
And sometimes going to your hometown team can be harder than you expect.
Your homeboy, hey, homeboy, come on through.
Hopefully his tweet is real. He's going to learn from this experience, and that's really all we can say about Dwayne Haskins right now.
No mercy.
James Harden scored 34 points last night, but it wasn't enough as Houston lost to Denver 124-111 and fell to 0-2 on the season. However, despite his request to be traded away from the Rockets, Harden is still speaking highly of new head coach Stephen Silas, telling reporters he did a great job, very confident, knew what he was drawn up, and knew where to put his guys at. So, Shannon, do you think Harden is warming up to staying in Houston?
Skip, I think when they get their full complement of guys back, they get Boogie back, they get John Wall back. Christian Wood is playing unbelievable, and we know what James Harden did the other night, his first night back. James Harden looks like he's about 10 pounds overweight, 12 pounds overweight. To come in with no training camp and drop 44 and 17, there have not been very many, if any, players in NBA history can do. Skip, the dude had 34 in 31 minutes last night. He had 24 at the half. I've never seen anything like it. And this is not to take a shot at Kobe. I've never seen anything like James Harden. I've never, ever, and I go back a long way watching basketball. I've never seen anybody that can score the ball like this man can, Skip. This is ridiculous. That's like a quarterback sitting out the whole training camp, and the first game back, he comes back and throws for 450 and 4 touchdowns. Skip what he's doing. So you pair Boogie and Christian Wood and James Harden, and Skip, I believe they could be a player in the West. I believe they got enough pieces. They can be a player. I'm not saying they can win it, but they can be a major, major player. And maybe James is rethinking it. He's like, hold on. Silas ain't bad. He know what he's talking about. He put us in right position. We get John Wall, get a couple of, and some of these guys that's starting come off the bench to give them some depth. Skip, Houston can be a player, but James Harden is ridiculous.
I agree. I have never seen anything like this man. I started watching the game the other night, the opener at Portland.
Yes.
And I could not stop. We were watching a movie, and I said, no, I'm sorry. I got it. And then Ernestine got into it also, and she said, this is unbelievable because they are trading clutch shots back and forth. James Harden hit 2 clutch threes that were from 8 miles out.
He hit them from being. They played in Portland. He hit those from being.
And to your point, 15 pounds heavy?
Yes, easy.
He's carrying a big spare tire. He looks fat. By NBA standards, he looks like a fat guy out there playing at the Y. And yet...
And giving you buckets.
He's giving you buckets. He can still move. He can still get steps on people. He can still get to the rim.
He get to the rim whenever he wants to. Just hit that step back 3.
Effortlessly. And the point was, he was not playing pouty. He was playing hard.
Yeah.
Playing like he meant it. playing like he always plays for Houston. He played hard on defense last year. He's playing hard now.
Yep.
I don't even know how do you sustain it? How do you play that many minutes? He played all through overtime, carrying that much weight. I don't know. He just gifted.
He is.
So in 2 games, look at these numbers. He's averaging 39 points on 61% from the field. He's averaging from 3. He's making 50% of his shots, 11 of 22 on threes. And now he's made 23 of 25 free throws. That's 92% more. And he's averaging 13 assists, 39 points, 5 rebounds, and 13 assists in 2 games. Well, he's not quitting on Houston.
No.
So to your point, Eric Gordon, DeMarcus Cousins, John Wall, on top of Christian Wood, who they gave a lot of money to, and they were right. They were right. He can play. He looked really good last night. He scored 23 last night at Denver.
Yeah.
And Jokic just took him out of the game because he had 18 assists on top of a triple-double. So he had 19 points, 12 rebounds, and 18 assists.
We list Jokic as a center. He's the best center in basketball. Skip, I know you like Joel Embiid, but Joel Embiid can't do what this kid can do, Skip. See, his ability to assist the basketball. Skip, we don't see bigs with 17, 18, 19 assists.
No, he is really gifted with his hands and his vision.
Yes. And you look at him, Skip, he's like, and I'm like, how did Joker keep getting to the rim like this? And that wrong foot step back jumper that he could hit. But James Harden, Skip, I believe as you mentioned, when Eric Gordon comes back, if Boogie can stay healthy, and John Wall, Skip, they can be a player in the West.
Because John Wall doesn't have the scoring ego that Russell had. So they'll be a better fit.
Yes.
So in the end, I do believe he is sitting back right now saying, you know what?
Yeah, let me go on and take that 2-year $100 million.
Maybe I should rethink this. Because Stephen Silas, he seems like a good young man.
Yeah.
You know, like he's been around. His father was a tremendous coach.
Skip, that's what I want guys to come in, young guys, to come in and have a chance. Without James Harden, Skip, he's not going to have a chance to win. At least James gives him an opportunity.
He does.
And that's what you want. Ty Lue got an opportunity. He had a chance to coach LeBron. Steve Kerr, his first coaching job, he got Steph, Clay, and Draymond. Let him have a chance.
Yeah.
I hope James gives him an opportunity to let him coach him up. You don't have to sign an extension. If you don't want to sign an extension, say, look, I'm going to play my all. I still want to be traded. But I wish he would stay and give Stephen Silas an opportunity.
I do too.
Going forward to win.
So that game, the opener at Portland, came down to the last few seconds, and James drove it and couldn't find. He got caught up in the air. He didn't have anywhere to go. You just have to.
He's the master of the floater. Let the floater, because Nurkic didn't jump.
And then he decided, I got to give it up, but he had nobody to give it up to. But I didn't get it.
Not P.J. Tucker, Skip.
Hey.
P.J. Tucker ain't gonna do anything from there.
Well, he wasn't even ready for the basketball.
Right.
It was like
because he was thinking that James was gonna run the floater.
But the point was, James was torn up over screwing up the last play, and it showed me his heart's still in Houston.
Skip, 10 of 16, 5 of 9.
Yeah.
Skip, and the man, he been partying. He been in Vegas. He been at Magic City. He been all over the place. Having the best. But hey,
nobody's ever done that.
He said he was. I believe him now. He said he had a trainer down in Atlanta. Now, I don't know what kind of training they doing down there. But anyway, I believe him, because you go get 44 and then follow that up with 34 and 8. Skip, I never seen anything like it. And I've seen some great scores from George Gervin to Michael to Kobe. Skip, this kid here is second to David. A lot of guys could
totally agree.
This is ridiculous.
No mercy.
The Bills steamrolled the Patriots 38-9 last night as Josh Allen threw for 320 yards and 4 touchdowns, including 3 to Stephon Diggs. Since losing to KC Week 6, Buffalo has been clicking on all cylinders, winning 8 of 9 games. That only loss coming against the Cardinals in the famous Hail Murray game. However, the Chiefs are already locked into the top seed in the AFC, so the road to the Super Bowl still goes through Arrowhead Stadium. Shannon, what shot do you give the Bills to win the AFC?
They got a real shot because of that guy that's playing quarterback. Skip, he's phenomenal. That throw, Skip, the dash that he made where he faked like he was going right and he came back and he opened his hips and he threw that ball to Stephon Diggs. There are only a handful of quarterbacks that can throw that ball like that. And he's one of them, so he gives them an opportunity. Stephon Diggs can run every route on the route tree. He can take the top off the coverage. They got adequate enough complementary receivers. Knox at tight end, I forget 13's name. But, Skip, they got pieces. And the defense played well enough that if Mahomes is not on his best behavior, they could go into Kansas City and win. Yeah. Skip, this team is for real. They're going to be to deal with for the years to come because they built the right way. Sean McDermott says, I wanted to build this team through the draft, but I also wanted to get some guys that felt like they weren't given a fair shake at the other location. So they come in with a chip on their shoulder. Hint, hint, Stephon Diggs. Man, I was a number one. But playing in a run-based system, playing with a quarterback that's inconsistent, let me show you what I can do. Man, what can you do? I can lead the league in catching and receiving yards. That's what I could do my first year out.
Yep.
So, Skip, they can do it. The defense is better than you think. Tre'Davious White is a Pro Bowler. Blown out of Tennessee, then 6 days later they lose to KC, and then they lost on the Hail Murray. So really and truly, you look at a team that should only have 2 losses on their resume.
Yep.
They got a chance. This is the team. And I understand Pittsburgh beat them, but if they were to play Pittsburgh, I would take them over Pittsburgh. I would take them over everybody in the AFC with the exception of Kansas City.
Gabriel Davis is the third receiver, and he's pretty good.
He is. It's good. They got Isaiah McKenzie, they got Roberts, and Measley Beasley.
Whew.
So they got pieces.
And Devin Singletary and Zach Moss can run it adequately.
Yes.
I'm not saying they're world beaters.
They don't need to run the ball like the Ravens.
No. Okay, so they're almost certainly going to be the 2 seed.
Yes.
Because I think they'll beat Miami at home on Sunday.
You think they'll be over 2 seed over? Yes.
Yeah. So I would certainly give them a shot. What has happened is Stephon Diggs happened. That's what happened.
He's been phenomenal.
And so many people were down on Josh Allen, including me, because he was not accurate enough to be the guy you're talking about.
Right.
And all of a sudden, Stephon has made him more accurate because he trusts him with his soul. He'll throw it to Stephon under any circumstance, under duress, and Stephon will separate and catch it.
Yes.
And run with it.
J.C. Jackson should have left him alone. He broke the ball up and started.
And
he said, I'm going to get you.
Yeah.
Okay, you
and
keep
J.C.
on talking.
Jackson, everybody said, was a big Pro Bowl snub. Last night, he should have been snubbed, right? Okay, so my point is that they were up 16-0 in a wild card game at Texans last year at halftime.
Yep.
And they were up, actually, they kept the lead till mid-third quarter.
Right.
And they were up 16-8 going to the fourth quarter. Well, they didn't have that guy playing receiver. They would have closed.
Oh, yeah. And Allen wasn't playing to the level then. Skip, he's on a whole different level. Now you see why he made the Pro Bowl. Now you look like, hold on. He got that many touchdowns, that few interceptions, and Skip, he can run. Did you see him run that keeper line? For a man that's
4th and 1. No,
for a man his size,
he scored 8 touchdowns himself.
He can ball. He can wheel out on you.
He can wheel out, and I'm sensing that a new bandwagon is being built to be driven by Shannon Sharp, and it's going to be a bandwagon that you could drive it all the way to Kansas City, and then you're going to have a problem because you got 2 bandwagons colliding.
You know, homeboy,
it sounds like you're driving the Josh by gosh bandwagon.
No, Skip, I just been telling you, watching him play. I think the thing is because Rodgers has been off the chart. Mahomes has been Mahomes. Tom Brady's doing what he's doing in the NFC. Russell. And I think some of this because up in Buffalo, I think it's gone unnoticed. But I think people got an opportunity to see. This is not an accident. He's pretty much been playing like this for the majority of the season. He's had a bad game. You know, that game against Tennessee, he was awful. They had Kansas City on the ropes, Skip. It took Mahomes coming back and getting a game-winning touchdown.
It did.
So he had them on the ropes. But he's been phenomenal. Boy.
I just don't know if their defense is good enough to stop Mahomes at Mahomes. And again, Patrick at home has not been great. He wasn't great in the playoffs until he had to be great when they fell behind twice.
You got to hope he's off just a little, Skip, to give yourself some leeway. Now, you might get out to the big lead, but you can't take your foot off the gas. You got to keep going for it because I feel that's what happened with the Texans. Skip, they got 24. You can't lose 24-0. The Texans, the Titans got up 10-0.
They did.
Skip, you can't 17-7. You can't let you give him life, and 30. Look at Miami. Miami was up 10-0. They go 30 straight.
So your favorite website, Pro Football Focus, ranks the Buffalo defense 22nd in their
I don't know what the
system.
22nd ranked defense, unless you can coax them into a couple of turnovers, get a couple of fumbles on special teams, and coax Mahomes into a turnover.
The one thing they got going for them right now is they are hotter than the Chiefs are.
Yes.
They're just hot, and they're having fun hot. You know, like it's contagious hot.
That's why I would play Mahomes the first half of this game.
Would you?
I would.
No mercy.
Not much went right for the Patriots during their 38-9 loss to the Bills last night, and Bill Belichick apparently had enough after losing a challenge that he seemingly had no chance to win. Cameras caught Belichick throwing a sideline phone in anger during the blowout. Can you blame him? Shannon, how surprised were you to see Belichick do this?
I'm not surprised at all, Skip. What's his farmer's moniker? Do your job. Replay guy, you got one job upstairs to make sure when I challenge, we win the challenge. That was a catch. And you got me challenging this. You know what? I am not surprised whatsoever, Skip. And plus, he's getting his eyes beat out, so...
Yeah, the assistant of the press box hung him out to dry.
Yes, Skip. I'm like, why would you challenge that?
Have you ever heard or seen old Stoneface lose it on the sideline like that? Ever?
No.
Lose it. He lost his cool. I've never seen him throw anything, which is why I believe he hit bottom last night. His team got blown out, the worst it's ever gotten blown out under Belichick at home. And he knows he's getting exposed as a team builder and a quarterback maker, because he ain't making no quarterbacks right now.
Again, I'm not surprised at all. But I'm scared. I was like, hold on, Coach Belichick, why would you challenge that? And he's like, look, you got one job. You upstairs.
It's a pass to Dawson Knox, and he obviously got both feet down.
Both feet.
Yeah.
And not only did he get both feet, he drug it. So he's like, you got one job. Your job is to say, Coach, challenge this. He didn't make it, or he did make it. And that was so apparent. And you did this? Don't worry, I got something for you when you get in there. You got a pink slip in your box.
I would not have liked to have been in the coaches' meeting maybe after the game, right?
That coach, that wasn't going to make a difference. They were just better than we were. That challenge didn't have nothing to do whether we would have lost the game.
And he knew what we knew, that Buffalo was trying to just devastate them. They were trying to trample them.
You should, Skip. That's what I'm saying. For 20 years, you beating up on us. And now I finally get the hammer back. Don't think I'm not going to bash you with it. Oh, of course I am.
Well, Belichick owned it after the game. He said we were outcoached, we were outplayed on all sides of this thing. That was not a good look.
He'd say Sean McDermott,
that was not a good look. That is it for Undisputed. Great stuff today, guys. We're back at the same time tomorrow morning. Have a good one.